Hi everyone, it's Dawn from Space on Papercraft. So we're back with the second part of the Alice in Wonderland mini album tutorial. This part we're going to focus on, we're going to get the binding done, we're going to cover the inside of our album, and we're going to assemble our pages. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is work on the binding. Now I have made two in different colours for you to see. This is the binding that I'm going to make to put in the album. It's just got 6 fins to put our pages onto. Okay, and then when you've assembled it, I'm going to show you how to do this one, then you would just, ours is going to be a little bit longer because ours is going to cover the gap in between the spine and the pages covers even. Okay, so again, if you can hear a whirring in the background, it is my fan. It is very warm again. So and I've also just finished after cleaning up. You'll be watching this probably the next day or the day after, but I'm have just, because I've still got a little bit of paint, so if you see paint or anything on me, I do apologise in advance for that. I thought I got it all off. I've just seen some now. So yeah, so this is the binding that we're going to do for this particular album. You can of course do a different binding, which this one can be quite complicated. The first couple of times I did it, I had to keep doing it because I kept getting it wrong. I will talk you through it though, as I said, but this one is a really simple alternative. So these are the measurements. You need a piece that's 6 by 4, a piece that's 6 by 3.5, and another piece that's 6 by 3. And all you do is score each of them at 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay, so they fold up like this. So then you would take the middle piece and attach it to the bottom piece, and then the top piece you would attach to the middle piece, and then you would attach the whole thing to your binding, and then your pages would then slip over these fins. I like both bindings. The cardstock that I'm using is quite a heavyweight cardstock for the pages, so something a bit more sort of sturdy is the reason I'm going for this one. But there are a couple of options. There are other options on how to bind as well. I'm sure if you go on and just have a look on YouTube, that you'll see lots of different binding options. You can stitch your binding. I've never been brave enough to stitch a binding in anything, so but you know, there are lots of options out there. I will also say, in case I forget, you need to snip a diagonal off each of your fins, because your pages are going to be 6 by 6, so for them to fit you just need a little bit of take a little bit of the edge off for the pages to slot over. You'll see what I mean when I come to forming the pages anyway, but yeah, so there's a couple of options there. Okay, so as I said, I'm going to make this option now. So to do that, I've got a piece of cardstock that is 6 by 10.5 inches. Okay, so we're going to put it on our scoring board, and we're going to score at 1 inch on both sides. So I'm going to score 1 inch there, and I'm just going to flip it round and score 1 inch again. Okay, and then from there we're going to score every 1/2 inch. Okay, so we're going to score at 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, and what I'm going to do, because I've got the camera in the way, is just turn this round. So that would be 7. So then you would go 7.5, 8. Oops, that just jumped. That one jumped as well. There we go. My goodness, 7.5, 8. It's because I am using really heavyweight cardstock. So then that would be 8.5. Okay, so you've got all your score lines there. So I'm going to put this beast out of the way because it's a bit too big. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is you're going to fold and you're going to burnish all these score lines. Okay. Okay, so we've got all our score lines folded and burnished. Now these two sections at the end, we're going to leave those alone. We're going to miss the first score line and then we're going to work on the second score line. So this score line needs to come up into a mounting fold. Okay, so that's how we've done that. We've just missed the first line and we've folded up the second score line into a mounting fold. Okay, so then you miss a line and then you pinch again and bring another one up into, let me just burnish these down and then I can show you, into a mounting fold. Okay, so you have two that look like that, and again you do exactly the same. You miss one and you bring another one in and pinch that in, so you have like a 1/2 inch gap in between each fin, like that. Okay, and that's what we do all the way to the end, making sure to burnish if you have to. Now, I hope I've worked this out right, because we're going to have 6 pages, so we need 6 fins. So if I put 4, 5 and 6. Okay, so there are 6 fins. Now what we need to do is we need to stick them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark on each one where I need to put adhesive, and I'll just show you that in a second. So where you bring this up into a mounting fold, that needs to be stuck together, okay, to give us the fin for our binding, for our pages to go on. Okay, so I'm just going to get some double-sided tape and I'm just going to start laying this on. I'm putting it on all the places that I've marked. When I've put all the double-sided tape on, I will just show you what it looks like, so then if you wanted to pause the video you can just check that you've got your tape in the correct space. Okay, so that's where you should have your tape. Okay, and I'm just going to burnish down all the tape. I find that the backing lifts off a lot easier, with less hassle really than, you know, usual if you just burnish it down. So this one, because it's split here. Okay, so where this bit is going to be your mounting, you need to stick those two pieces together like that. Okay, and that's your first fin. So you'll do that all the way along, Okay. So that's our binding piece done. So if I show you on the album, if I bring the covers back in, this is how this is going to sit, like so. But I think what I might do is put a score in. And that's how our album is going to go. Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to stick our adhesive onto the back, and for that I'm going to use some score tape, because score tape is so strong, and this is where all the weight of your album is going to be. So that then is going to be stuck there. Before I do that, I'm going to snip my edges, because I always forget to do it, and then when I come to put the pages on, it's really awkward because it's already inside the book. So all you need to do is just snip a little diagonal piece off each fin. So you need to do that at the top and the bottom. Okay, so now what we want to do is make sure all our tape is well burnished. Okay. So what I need to do is make sure that the spine holds all the fins. So I'm just going to stick a couple of pieces down first. To make sure we've got the same distance top and bottom. And we're going to stick that down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to reach in and start taking off all the adhesive. So we've already got it stuck down, and if we keep it straight, it will be absolutely fine. Okay, so let's just make sure that we're good. Okay, so the next thing we need to do now is we need to put that crease back in where our fold is. Okay, so I'm just running my embossing tool right into that gap there. Just make sure all this is stuck down. Let me give this a good burnish, because you don't want this moving, obviously. You don't want, as I say, your album to fall apart. So make sure all that's burnished really well. And then we will do again. The same here. I think what I might do is use the bone folder. There we go. So that's that. And then again on this side, and there we go. Okay, so that's our binding done and secured into our album. Now for the rest of the inside, I've cut 2 pieces of craft coloured cardstock, and that's actually been cut at the wrong measurement. It should be 6. Okay, I'm going to go and cut this off camera at the right measurement and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I've got the right measurements this time. So you need 2 pieces of matching cardstock cut at 6 by 6, and then you need 2 pieces of pattern paper. I'll talk about the papers and all the embellishments and where I got everything from in the next video, or at the end of this one, depending on how long this one takes. Okay, so 6 by 6 cardstock, and then 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 paper. So I'm just going to be using some Ranger ink in coffee, and I'm just going to ink around the edges. This is a nice ink, it's quite subtle, especially on craft, it looks really nice. So that's those edges inked. Actually, I just want to, while I'm here, I should have done this actually before I stuck the binding in, but we're just going to ink the top and the bottom. You're not going to see hardly any of it anyway, so it won't really make too much of a difference. Okay, so I'm going to stick the paper onto the cardstock mats, and I'm just going to use my ATG gun to do that, and then I'll use the wet glue to stick the cardstock to the inside covers. There's one. Okay, so now I'm just going to bring in my art glitter glue, and this is going to stick because it's going to be the same height as our binding, but this is going to stick down just before that crease in the album. Okay, so it's got to be before the crease because you don't want it after the crease because it won't fold. But you know, your cover won't fold up. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on this one. Now, because there is still so much mixed media sort of product on the inside covers, I may need to find, if it doesn't stick properly, I might just have to use some score tape, but I think it should be okay with the art glitter glue. We'll give it a good burnish down, and that should be okay. So there's we've got our cover. Let me zoom you back out again. So we've got our cover done, our lovely mixed media crackle cover, and then our insides. So I've left this plain because I don't know whether I'm going to maybe attach a pocket or something else, I don't know. So I've left that plain. So that is our cover ready, apart from the outside embellishment for our pages. Okay, so pages, you're going to need, I've got all the pieces here, you're going to need 6 pieces of cardstock that are 6 by 7 and 6 pieces that are 6 by 6. Okay, so I'm going to make one up with you on camera. So you're going to need a piece of each, one piece of 6 by 7, one piece of 6 by 6 for each page. Okay, so I'm just going to bring the little scoreboard in, and then I'm going to get my scoring stylus, and on the 7-inch piece we're just going to score at 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay, you're going to do that to all 6 pieces of your 7 by 6. Okay, and then what you're going to need to do is fold up these 1/2 inch pieces and give them a good burnish. And then you're going to add your adhesive. So again, I'm going to use my score tape because I want the pages to stay really secure. So you bring back in then your 6 by 6 piece, and we're going to actually stick that on top. Okay, so you take, the easiest way I find to do this is remove a little bit of your score tape, and then that way you can line this up really well, and it is quite forgiving when you've only got a section of the adhesive exposed. So then just gentle pressure and pull that out, so that bit is then stuck down to there. Okay, what I've noticed though, I've just seen, is that I've got a little bit of an overhang just there. So what might be advantageous is to snip the corners, and then you won't get that little bit hanging over. So again, just pull a little bit off and then line it up to the edge. Press it down, and then with a bit of gentle pressure hold that and seal it. Okay, and then that's your page. So this section will sit, if I bring our album back in. Whoops, sorry guys, just knocked the camera. So if I show you how the pages are going to go, they're going to slot right over the fins that we've made. Okay, and then in the other end you're going to have an insert. So one side will be on the spine and the other is going to be on your insert. Okay, so you need to get to a point where you've got 6 of these made, and then what we're going to do in the next video is we're going to start putting the pages together. So we'll be doing some flaps and some pockets and different bits and pieces, and then, you know, decorating our pages, adding magnets here and there. So this is where we actually start building the pages, and that's going to be in the next video. I have decided to do a separate video showing all of the ephemera and things I've used, because I've used a digital paper supplier on Etsy who I have ordered from before, who are fantastic. The prices are amazing. They're called Victoria Designs. They do so many different Alice things especially, but lots of other things too. So yeah, I'll leave that link in the description bar below, but in the next video, or in that separate video rather, I will talk about all the bits and pieces that I've got. I am going to be doing some giveaways too, so just some little bits and pieces, and yeah, so you must watch the videos to be entered for that. So I will discuss that in the next video. So thank you so much guys for watching. So all you need to do obviously is just get your pages ready to this point. You can ink the edges of your pages if that's what you're going to do, and then we'll be ready then to start building. So thanks so much again guys for watching. I really hope you're enjoying this. Can you just let me know in the comments below if I'm explaining everything right, because I'm not by any stretch of the imagination you know, a whiz at mini albums. I just really like making them, and you know, picked up a few tips and tricks along the way. So I just want you to get the best out of this video. So if there's anything you need me to go over again, or anything you're not sure about, just please feel free to comment, or just pop me an email, because my email address will be in the description bar below. So thanks so much again guys for watching, and do take care, and I will be back very soon. Bye for now.